There's a reason every mechanic on the internet is telling you not to buy a new car. 61% of Americans who bought one in the last 5 years regret it, and nearly half regretted it within the first 3 months.
Like, literally, I hate this car. Like, who convinced me that a Tesla is better than a freaking Camry? The Tesla! I miss my Camry.
It's crazy. 20 years ago, we thought the future with vehicles was so bright and so cool, but now, it's just depressing.
The newer cars, Mercedes, Audi, it doesn't matter the brand. They're garbage. They're absolute garbage. There are so many plastic parts on them, and the engines are designed basically to fail.
So, how did we get here? Because none of this happened by accident. 20 years ago, the car industry made buyers a promise. Every new generation would be more reliable than the last. Better tech, cheaper to run, longer lasting. That was the whole pitch. The 2026 data made it official that the promise is dead. The average new car now has 204 problems after just 3 years of ownership. That is the highest number ever recorded since J.D. Power redesigned the study. Cars are literally getting worse to own with every model year, not better. And here's the part nobody expected. The luxury brands are now doing worse than the cheap ones. Mercedes owners are reporting 235 problems per 100 cars. Audi, 244, and Volkswagen, it's 301 dead, last in the industry. Meanwhile, Lexus, the top-ranked brand, sits at 151. So the guy in the Volkswagen is dealing with roughly twice as many problems as the guy in the Lexus, and he paid more for the badge. That is what the premium sticker buys you in 2026, a shorter list of things that work. Now let's follow the actual causes, because they're showing up on driveways right now. Start with the electronics. Modern cars now run more lines of code than the spacecraft that put humans on the moon. And the #1 customer complaint in the entire industry for the 3rd year running is that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto keep disconnecting. That's it. The most futuristic vehicle in human history, and the top complaint is that it can't stay connected to a phone. When J.D. Power actually asked the owners who received those updates whether the update did anything useful, 58% said no, and getting the update was linked to a 14% jump in reported problems. The software fixes are making cars worse than not updating at all.
So I drive a 2025 Chevy Trailblazer, not by choice. I would never ever recommend getting one of these cars. It sucks, it's a piece of shit, and I just don't like newer cars. Anyways, had an engine light come on the other day, stayed on all day, then eventually went off. I was like, okay. With all the tech that's in these cars now, you would think when an engine light comes on, it would tell you right on the dashboard, self-diagnostic, hey, here's what's going on, here's the issue, this is why your engine light is on. But no, you still got to take it in for them to check it.
But it's not just infotainment. The more electrified the car, the worse it does. Gas cars are the most reliable. Hybrids are worse. EVs are worse than hybrids. And plug-in hybrids, which try to combine both worlds, are the worst of all, coming in at 281 problems per 100 vehicles. That's a 39-point jump in a single year. The more tech, the more it breaks. The opposite of what buyers were promised. Now, the engines themselves. This is where the story gets ugly. The GM 6.2-liter L87 V8 is the engine in the Chevy Silverado 1500, GMC Sierra 1500, Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon, Yukon XL, and the Cadillac Escalade. In April 2025, GM recalled nearly 600,000 vehicles for a defect where the crankshaft and connecting rods can basically self-destruct. Owners have reported violent knock, sudden loss of power at highway speeds, and in some cases, engine fires. GM's original fix for engines that didn't fail the inspection was to swap the oil to a heavier grade and add a 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty extension. That's it. Basically, sorry, your $80,000 truck might explode. Here's some thicker oil and a piece of paper we hope you never have to use. But then the lawsuits started stacking. As of 2026, at least 11 separate class actions were consolidated into a single federal case in the Eastern District of Michigan. Plaintiffs allege the recall fix is a band-aid, that failures keep happening even after dealers sign off, and that the engines have manufacturing defects going all the way back to the crankshaft geometry itself. NHTSA has opened a follow-up investigation looking at hundreds of failures happening after the recall was completed.
The dealer denied the warranty on this 2024 Cummins. So this is a 2024 in a 5500 truck that had the flex plate brake on it, and it was broken, which is unusual on such a new truck, but it was. They replaced it, 2,000 miles later, it broke again. So they replaced it again, and then here's where it gets really interesting and really bad. 1,000 miles later, this broke. All the bolts were broken. A few we were able to just get out by hand, but then the front of the crankshaft is broken. But this is a very unusual failure that has cost this customer a ton of money after being at 3 dealerships.
I addressed his recall and rebuilt his engine, and I had to coast into this side road, and when I tried to start the truck,
no. GM done made the engine so bad, they can't even fix this shit. If you buy one of these GMs with a V8 in the ride, your ass fitting to be stranded on the side. I probably wouldn't buy no GM at this point.
It's not just GM. In 2025 alone, more than 5 million engines were recalled across Toyota, Honda, GM, and Ford, some of them failing as early as 28,000 miles. That's not the miles you replace an engine at. That's roughly the miles you'd expect on the second oil change. The pattern behind all these engine failures is not bad luck, it's design choices. Automakers are running thinner oil, tighter tolerances, and turbochargers on almost everything, all to squeeze out better fuel economy numbers on paper. Every one of those choices helps the brochure. Every one of those choices also gives the engine one more way to break. The buyer never sees the trade-off, they just see the tow truck. But the tow truck is only the beginning, because once an engine breaks, you have to fix it. And this is where the industry stopped even pretending to be on the buyer's side. Modern cars are basically rolling computers now, and the automakers figured out that if they lock the software, the diagnostic codes, and the wireless data behind their own tools, the independent shop down the street can't touch the car. The dealer becomes the only place that can fix it, and the dealer charges whatever the dealer wants. There was supposed to be a federal law that fixed this. It was called the Repair Act. The whole point was simple: force the automakers to hand over the same diagnostic data and tools to independent shops that they give their own dealers. It got through the first committee vote in early 2026. Then, in May 2026, the same lawmakers quietly gutted it. They stripped out the wireless data access, which was the whole point, meaning if your car uses proprietary diagnostics, you are legally free to fix it, you just physically can't.
So now Ford and GM are saying they don't want us to work on their vehicles? Good. We don't want to work on their junk anyway. So if you haven't heard yet, and they tried to get them to introduce a bill that prevents guys like me and you from working on their cars. But let me tell you what's really going on. You see, when Ford builds and sells a truck like this, they don't make very much off the sale of the truck. I mean, the dealership gets a piece of it, the salesman, a whole lot of people get a piece of the action. So what do? Well, they try to make it up with repairs in the dealership and by selling parts for their crappy car.
That's the whole business model most owners haven't fully understood yet. The car is the loss leader. The next 10 years of service is the actual product. And once you see the business model, the build quality starts to make sense too. In 2026, Cybertruck owners are still reporting inconsistent panel gaps, doors that don't sit flush, and trim pieces separating from the body on trucks that cost $60,000 to $100,000. And it's not just the Cybertruck. Model 3 and Model Y builds coming out of the Fremont factory in 2025 and 2026 still have wider panel gaps than what any established luxury brand ships. And the legacy automakers are not saving anyone either.
I don't know if it's Honda, but y'all make y'all windshields so fucking cheaply made. This is a 2021, y'all. This started from that little bit of pack right there, if I can see that. Now this shit spread it all over my window. Like, Honda, y'all making these cars so mother cheap. Y'all gotta do better, man.
I don't care if it's Hyundai or Kia or Honda or Ford or Chevy or Dodge. All the offerings they have in 2018, 19, 20, 23, they're getting to be junk. The newer cars, Mercedes, Audi, it doesn't matter the brand. They're garbage. They're absolute garbage. There are so many plastic parts on them, and the engines are designed basically to fail. They tweak it with their engineering to say this will last 100,000 miles. That's good. We don't need to go any further. We don't put another dime into it because the CEOs need their $50 million bonus at the end of the year, and we don't dare cut into that.
That last line explains the whole strategy. Cars are engineered to last exactly as long as the warranty and not a mile further. The 30-year cars from the 90s were an accident of over-engineering. The 2026 cars are designed to fail on schedule, because if they last too long, you don't come back. And it shows up in the diesel world too. Modern diesel pickups come loaded with 3 layers of emissions hardware. When any of it fails, and it fails often, the truck goes into what's called derate mode. Speed drops, power drops. In some cases, the truck limits itself to 5 miles per hour and strands the driver on the side of the highway. The failures got so common that in March 2026, the EPA formally rolled back the depth sensor requirement. The agency admitted that the sensor failures were, in their own words, a nationwide disaster, costing farmers and truckers a combined $13.79 billion a year in repairs and lost productivity. The federal government basically confirmed that the emissions hardware built into every modern diesel truck was so unreliable, it was breaking working equipment across the country.
This truck showed up on a trailer from Dallas, 4 to 5 hours away. And as you can see, completely handicapped, 98 miles until 65 miles an hour max speed, check engine light, service depth system. This truck is completely handicapped.
Trailered 5 hours to a shop because the emission system decided to shut it down. That is not what buyers were sold, and the math finally catches up with the buyer at the register. Repair costs on new cars just hit record highs, and for the first time, the single most expensive category to fix is no longer the engine. It's the electrical system. The sensors, the control units, the connected hardware, all the stuff the marketing brochure told you would make driving easier. That's now the most expensive thing to replace when it breaks. And insurance costs are climbing alongside the repair complexity. Auto insurance premiums have jumped 37% since 2021, growing faster than income for 4 straight years. The average American household with a car loan now spends around 15% of their income just on the car, and 1 in 5 Americans say owning a vehicle has become a luxury they can't actually afford.
If there ain't one thing I did in my life that was financially smart to me, that was leasing my vehicles. What matters is I can give this back without having to roll over negative equity or bring some money to the table just to close the deal.
That's the smart response. Rent the depreciation and don't own the problem. Now look at what all of this adds up to on the ground. Dealership lots across America are the fullest they've been since before the pandemic. Cars are sitting for nearly 2 months before anyone buys them. Manufacturers are throwing thousands in discounts just to move inventory, and dealers keep making TikToks asking the internet why nobody wants their trucks.
So I need you guys to tell me, I've got a truck that we've not been able to sell. 2026 7.3 liter F350. Lariat pickup truck, white, has an MSRP of $70,320. So let me know in the comments, guys, why can we not sell this truck?
That's happening because buyers finally stopped believing the product was worth the sticker in the first place. Every choice the industry made in the last decade points in the same direction. The automakers didn't get worse at building cars. They got better at making sure you can't own one for long. Buying a new car in 2026 means you are the beta tester. You are paying $50,000 to find the bugs the manufacturer didn't want to pay to find themselves. And when they finally fix it, they'll fix it for the next customer, not you.